Welcome to CodeCommit Lab. In this session, we will be talking about how to create CodeCommit repository, create a test user for CodeCommit. We will connect to repository through HTTPS, useful Git operation for developers. Let's move to create CodeCommit repository in AWS Management Console. I am already logged into my AWS Management Console. Click on Services, search CodeCommit, click on Create Repository, give a repository name. Description is optional. You can create the tag. It is a good practice to create the tag. Now this option talks about Amazon Code Guru to enable. It is a code reviewer service from Amazon. Get recommendations to improve the quality of the Java code for all pull requests in this Git repository. And if we enable this, a service linked role will be created in IAM on your behalf if it does not exist. It is optional, but I am enabling it. It's your choice. You can enable it or let it be as it is. Click on Create. Now our repository has been created. We have three options to connect our repository: HTTPS, SSH, HTTPS, GRC. And if we click on these tabs, we will get the instruction on how to connect from your local or any other system. In this session, we will be using HTTPS to connect to our newly created Git repository. But as prerequisite, you must use Git client. So Git should be installed in your system already. If you don't have Git installed in your system, please go to git-scm.com/downloads, and from there you can download Git for either for Windows or Mac or Linux. In this session, I considered that you have Git already installed. So let's go back to our repository, and I'm just cloning this URL, which is clone HTTPS. Now I have opened the command prompt in a directory in my Windows system and trying to clone the repository. We don't have anything in that repository that we know. So just git clone and paste the repository URL. As you see, it is asking for the user ID and password, but we don't have that user ID and password yet. So we need one user who has code commit rights. So let's go to IAM and create one user, assign code commit, and then come back. Search for IAM, go to users and create user. I'm creating one user, add username. Now I'm selecting programmatic access as well as AWS Management Console access, because in next few sessions, I will need both the access. Now I will be creating a custom password and will uncheck this, because to make it quick, I do not need to reset the password again, but it is highly recommended and you should do in your production ready environment. But it is highly recommended that you should do always reset your password on next sign in by the user. Next permission, click on attach existing policies directly, search for code commit, and here we get three policies: code commit full access, code commit power user, code commit read only. So I'm selecting code commit power user. Click on next tags, click next review. It is the review page. Click on create user. Now our user has been created. Click on download CSV to download the access key. Now we have our user created and we have added the policy for code commit. If you follow the step 2, it says that create Git credentials for your IAM user. If you do not already have them, download the credentials and save them in a secure location. So we have to create the Git credential for this test user. So let's go back to our IAM user, select the user, go to security credentials, and here we have our HTTPS Git credentials for code commit. So click on generate credentials, click on download credentials, click close, and we have downloaded the HTTPS Git credentials. Now I am on my command prompt in Windows system, type git clone, paste the URL. it is asking for the username and password. Remember that this is the username and password for the HTTPS Git credential we have just created. I am adding the username and password just, and it's saying you appear to have cloned an empty repository. That's fine. We know that we have just created the repository, didn't put anything, and we are just cloning it now. Okay, so the clone has successfully cloned an empty repository. That's fine. And let's see in the directory what it has cloned. As you see in the directory, it has cloned AWS Tech Guide, the repository name, and nothing over here. Okay, so what I am doing here, I am creating one test file. Suppose test.txt, just opening it, test, and saving it. Okay, now let's go to our command prompt again and do a git status. Well, this is saying that not a git repository because our git repository is not at this directory. So we have to go inside AWS Tech Guide. Okay, now do git status. Perfect. And it says that on branch master, and we have one file test.txt newly created. So let's do git add -a. Now let's commit with message git push, and it is simply all the git operations command you can use for CodeCommit as well. So let's go back to CodeCommit console. Click on repository, click on the repository AWS Tech Guide, and we see that we have one new file that we have pushed from here. Now if we just create from here as well, suppose click on commit changes, well, we have this file created. Now we have two files. Do a git status over here. It is on branch master, up to date it's saying. Now do a git pull. It's saying that it has added one file, that is new2.txt, and we have that file in our local repository as well. So in this session we have learned how to create git repository, how to create a test user and add policies, as well as where to create the password, how to connect your CodeCommit repository from your system through HTTPS, and we did some git operations. In next session, we will do few more git operations which are in daily use for the developers. So let's move to the next session.